Hi, I'm Emily Epp, Manager of Communications at the Cariboo Regional District. This is a video update for August the 30th, joined here by Natasha, Fire Information Officer at the Cariboo Fire Center. Yesterday we had said that we were going to be transitioning to fire updates every other day, but with the situation down near Elephant Hill, we thought we should bring you a video update again today. So Natasha's just going to start us off with a little bit about Elephant Hill.
Yeah, thanks Emily. So starting off, to put it into perspective, the Elephant Hill fire is 175,000 hectares approximately, and unfortunately growing. It is currently experiencing increased fire behavior. This is due to hot, dry conditions as well as increased gusty winds at high speeds. Last night, strong winds and low humidity persisted overnight, which isn't something we always see in the Cariboo Fire Center. We sometimes get quite lucky with lower winds at night. And last night, the fire did demonstrate aggressive fire behavior and moved across the north flank and beyond containment lines there on the northeast tip in a northern direction up to Jack Frost Lake. So while crews and heavy equipment had made excellent progress in the days leading up to yesterday on containment and contingency lines to the north, the sustained overnight winds that blew was what caused embers to blow essentially across those containment lines. And when the wind blows at night and blows embers across lines, it's not really so much a fault of the containment line. It's sometimes unavoidable, as it was last night. Last night, air tankers did respond, and night operations occurred by the BCWS in conjunction with local fire departments. And unfortunately, winds are persisting today. Air tankers are on site today, and all available resources are responding, and that includes, like I said, air tankers, helicopters, crews, heavy equipment, and additional structural protection firefighters to protect life and property in the area. Firefighters will continue running 24-hour operations to ensure the fire is constantly actioned, that someone's constantly there. In other parts of the fire, while the fire is active to the east of Pressy Lake and to the north of Young Lake, it is not immediately threatening structures at this time in either of those lake communities, although hotspots remain from the fire's former foray into the area, and this is being addressed by crews and structure protection specialists. The western and southern containment lines, where crews have extensively mopped up, are not being challenged at this time, so some good news on the other flanks of the fire. And in general, structure protection assessments and maintenance in the area is ongoing. I just wanted to also highlight some of the challenges that the incident management team has recognized there. It's not just one or two challenges that they're running into on this fire, it's really a combination of challenging topography, challenging fuel type, just sustained problematic hot, dry, windy weather, as well as just the large area number of communities that have been impacted are really making this fire challenging, and all of that is contributing to the duration of how long this fire has been active and growing. Looking ahead into the weekend, unfortunately, this area is not going to receive any help from the weather. Winds are going to remain gusty overnight, and they will persist into tomorrow. Once we are through the winds, unfortunately, so the winds are going to subside this weekend, but when they subside, we're going to see high temperatures into the 30s and extremely low relative humidities, particularly in areas like the 100-mile fire zone where the active part of this fire is. And those conditions are going to continue to challenge suppression efforts through the weekend.
Thanks for that update, Natasha. And along those lines, because of the fire activity, the BC Wildfire Service did do some tactical evacuations last night around the Little Green Lake area due to the Elephant Hill fire. And so today, throughout the morning, the CRD, we've been working closely with the BC Wildfire Service to determine what areas needed to be on an evacuation order. So early this afternoon, we did issue an evacuation order for some areas south of Highway 24. That does include the Watch Lake area, Little Horse Lake area, Little Green Lake area, the western side of Sheridan Lake, as well as some areas on the north side of Green Lake. So in total, about 729 people were affected by that evacuation order. The adjacent areas south of Highway 24 remain on evacuation alert. That alert was also expanded today to include some areas north of Highway 24, and that expansion and the previous alerts includes affects about 3,000 people there. So if you're wondering if your area is on alert or order, please make sure to check out our searchable online map. You can enter your property and see if your area is on an alert or an order. And just to close us off, I just wanted to touch a little bit about the differences between tactical evacuations versus strategic evacuations. As we saw last night and today, tactical evacuations take place by the BC Wildfire Service or RCMP, as well as sometimes other groups like search and rescue or fire departments, when an area is immediately threatened and the people need to be evacuated right away. That is different from strategic evacuation orders. So those are where this Cariboo Regional District or the local government works closely with the BC Wildfire Service to determine what area should be evacuated. So the BC Wildfire Service gives their recommendation based on weather and what the fire might do, looking into the forecast. So then we determine what areas need to be evacuated. So that's why those evacuation orders do take a little bit longer than a tactical evacuation. Tactical evacuations happen immediately when people are threatened, and then the strategic ones, we make sure that we consider all the proper factors before we put that order in place. So that's just a little bit of explanation of the differences between those two kinds of evacuations. For more information, check out the BC Wildfire Services website, bcwildfire.ca, our website, cariboord.ca, and stay tuned for more updates.